All right, good evening, everyone. Well, the atmosphere is getting really exciting with all the awards being announced, and I hope you'll have a wonderful evening ahead. Right, so first of all, thank you ACF for inviting me for the keynote speech. I think this is after about like 10 years I'm speaking on a ACEF forum. It was like back in 2015, I first spoke at one of the events here in Mumbai, and it's almost like after 6 years I'm back in Mumbai. It was just 2019 last time I was here. And I have to tell you, like, what we hear in news about rising India is happening like right in front of my eyes. What I see like after 6 years, after 10 years coming in, like how the city has moved, how the airport has changed, right? So it's truly fascinating. So good for you, all of you. I mean, well done, India. Right, okay, so no, I'm not here today to, develop India-Sri Lanka diplomatic relationships or anything. I'm assigned for a job here, right? So let me get started with the job that I'm assigned for. This year's theme for this summit is Strategy Meets Innovation, the Future of Customer Engagement. Now, staying true to that theme for the event, let me talk about this topic of conversational marketing, how to take your brand from a monologue to dialogue. Now, in some of the awards that already been awarded, I saw there had been like a lot of like AI-driven, conversational-driven campaigns already been awarded. So I'm sure like a lot of the people who are here from the marketing fraternity will catch maybe a point of two from what I'm going to share with you. Now, I have to say one thing, right, before we get started. Okay. Looks like it's not moving. Can we have the next slide, please? Right, okay. So there's one thing that I want everyone to know before we move on with this presentation. That is, engagement is not a marketing invention. Right? We talk about customer engagement, we talk about, now brand engagement, that word itself is flawed, I think. Brands don't engage, it's people who engage. Long before marketers took over this word engagement, we've been having conversations and we've been engaging with each other like maybe like thousands of years ago, like in campfires with our family and all that, right? Now, as long as you remember these very important nuances of human engagement, conversations happen people to people. Brands are only one topic of their conversations, day-to-day conversations. This is something that a lot of us marketers forget along the way. We try to bring in a lot of science, data, this and that, everything, and we forget the people part of the conversation. So as long as we remember this, you can touch these conversations of human to human level, and you can bring a lot more human energy or humanized face to your brand as long as you never forget this very important point about human interaction. All right, the next slide, please. Right, so I'm going to very quickly walk you through the journey of how these online conversations evolved over time, because topic for me is about conversational marketing, and I'm going to touch upon like how we are going to use technology to drive these human conversations online. So let me very quickly walk you through the journey, how we came here today, where we are, and I'm going to touch upon like where things are going to be in future. Now, looking back like past, like 1990s, maybe early 2000s, when the web became a thing, now all of a sudden, brands started going online, the dot-com bubble and all the buzzwords of 90s and early 2000s. Now back then, brands started using this new medium they called in the 90s, 2000 as the internet for customer engagement. This is the era where like, one-way websites was the thing. Now, this entire era was completely a monologue. There is no way customers can talk back. But, a conversation can't be a monologue, right? I mean, conversation always has to be a dialogue. And one thing that I firmly believe is, in your conversations involving your brand, you have to give the power to your consumer. This is another point where a lot of the brands go wrong along the way, because we think that we are in the center, the brand is in the center. No, brand is not in the center, your customer is in the center. So therefore, you have to always give power back to your consumer in these conversations which are happening. Now, we talk about content creation, content engagement and all that, but more than the content, what matters is the conversation in that content. Now that's where we are slowly evolving. I'll come to that in a few minutes. Now, from this very early stage of one-way monologue type of web conversations brands used to have, then we came to the next era of social conversation. Social media trend, buzzword, remember like 2005, 2010, everybody started talking about Facebook, Twitter, and this and that. And brands started creating conversations on social media with their customer. Now, I believe this was a phenomenal turning point in brand communications, because this is true democratization of information. Content created by people for the people. Now, after a while, this kind of like got like out of hand for brands. People started, criticizing brands, brand backlash, social media crisis. So a lot of big brands, multinational brands, faced this from 2008, 9, 10, even up until about like 2015. One of the hottest topics on forums like this was crisis management on social media, right? So this is essentially giving the power back, or giving the power to the consumer. In the conversation which was happening online, now people or the consumers are having more power than the brand. Now then what happened was, next slide, please, coming to the present. Now, present day, what happened? So now this social media thing evolved, and it came to a point which Mr. Pawan in his keynote spoke about, the influencer marketing trend. Now today, like if you look at last decade, 2015 to 2025, last 10 years, if you look at, the entire social media dynamics is dominated by what we call as the creator economy, the influencers, and they define the rules of conversations now. Brands are throwing big money, like millions of dollars, rupees, to the hands of these influencers. I know there are a few here as well, might be. Brands are pushing this money to the influencers to create conversations on behalf of them. And in the earlier keynote, he so rightfully spoke about that, how this can go wrong. Like if you try to manipulate your customers through influencers, it's going to get backfired especially with the Gen Z and Generation Alpha consumers. They are not going to wait and watch for you as marketers to manipulate them. That's not Gen Z, that's not Generation Alpha. They will fight back. And that's why I will show in a future slide, in an upcoming slide, that's why this whole cliche about influencer marketing is coming to kind of like a crisis in time to come. So I'll come to that. Now, very quickly, the next slide, very quickly, where we are today and like where the future holds. Now, last 2 to 3 years, like ChatGPT, Gemini, and all these AI revolution, now what is actually happening is, what influencers in the creator economy was holding tight, the control of the conversation, now it's coming back to the hands of the consumer. That's what currently been happening. That's a trend which is happening. So now, next slide, please. Yep. So I mentioned that this whole phenomenon about influencer marketing is coming to a kind of like a crisis with the Generation Z and Generation Alpha. Mind you, they are coming to the market very soon. They are coming to the market. They are becoming your consumer very soon. And they are very well aware about these influencers and how influencers are trying to manipulate them. So they are very well aware. And these are the types of conversations that they are having. Now, about influencers, now there are certain studies which are signaling that the whole industry of influencer marketing is kind of like coming to a crisis. Now, this 2023 Edelman Trust Barometer report showed that only 37% of people trust influencer endorsements nowadays. And 2022 Nielsen study shows that 71% of consumers believe advertising content from influencers is often exaggerated and misleading. And third point is about Gen Z and of course Alpha. A Morning Consult study found that while 88% of Gen Z follow influencers, only 10% say they trust them a lot. Now, what this essentially means is your influencer marketing campaigns are great for creating conversations to build awareness, to build reach. They'll give you the reach, but trust is becoming questionable. The trust of these conversations is becoming questionable. Now, when this is happening, we have to rethink like how we are going to address this. Now, that's where I again go back to the point that I earlier made. As long as you are giving back power to the consumer, you are safe in future, right? Because we say, we say customer is the king in marketing, so why don't we treat them as kings? You have to give power back to your consumers in future so that you will win conversations with these Generation C and Alpha consumers because they will trust brands which are transparent, honest, and ethical. These are the characteristics of these upcoming generations who are going to be your biggest consumers in few years from now. Next slide, please. Right. Now, we have to understand how we are going to solve this problem of trust using today's technology or using upcoming technology. Now, this is where conversational marketing or conversational AI becoming a thing. Now, the recent development in the AI technologies, AI world, especially in the generative AI field, has opened doors for many possibilities for brands to create conversational AIs. Now, why that matters? I earlier said that, okay, human to human is the most important thing, right? Like forget about technology, forget about marketing. We as humans always want to have engaging conversations with each other. Now I'm saying, okay, to solve the trust problem of humans, we need the support of AI. Am I contradicting myself? No. So what's happening is, in a very recent study that was done, quite honestly, I can't recall the source of the study, but this is something that I saw on LinkedIn very recently. The number one reason for using AI during the last 12 months, or year to date 2025, the number one reason why people use, or purpose why people use AI is education. Number two is mental health. People use ChatGPT as a counselor to talk about their mental health issues. Now, the reason is you simply take your mobile phone, you go to voice prompt, and then you talk to your AI, your ChatGPT, talking about your stress, your depression, everything, and having these conversations. People are doing this practically now. Why? The reason is you can talk to an AI without the fear of being judged. Now, that's one of the biggest barriers of conversational marketing when only humans are involved. Some of the case studies that I'm going to face very cleverly use these technologies, especially in those certain conversation topics which are deemed by people as embarrassing to discuss in public space, or embarrassing to even to talk to a human agent, right? Sometimes we feel certain questions are stupid questions, right? I mean, we all feel that like sometimes we walk into a bank or a insurance agent and we want to have a very open conversation because I don't know anything about life insurance, for example, but now I'm talking to a life insurance agent. I have a lot of questions, but might be a little bit, revealing and embarrassing type of questions. I might not ask those questions because I don't know who this guy is. But if you bring AI into that, you are going to eliminate that fear of being judged from your consumers, and you can develop better engaging conversations with your customers. Next slide, please. Right, so I'm going to very quickly show you, I know, this might sound like very academic, theoretical, but please bear with me. I'm going to very quickly show you how, 4 options that you have in today's AI-driven world, how you can better engage your consumers with these technologies. The first, like in the horizontal axis, you have the complexity of the conversation. In one angle, you have like low complex conversations with your customers. And on the other side, you have high complex conversations. These are conversations which need like a lot of data points. These are straightforward, right? And then in the vertical axis, you have like the business impact these conversations can bring to you. So you have the low business impact as well as you have the high business impact conversations. Now, based on these 2 axes, there are 4 types of conversations that you can build with your customers using predominantly AI technologies. I'm going to go one by one. The quadrant 1 is the easiest, most straightforward thing that you can do, the FAQ bots and information bots. I'm sure like a lot of the chat bots that you would find in many organizations today are quadrant 1, FAQs and info bots. You feed the FAQs of your product or service, and then you get people to interact with this. Now, like most of the early generation chatbots for FAQs and information are what you call as rule-based chatbots. But now with GPT technologies and all that, you can go beyond these rule-based chatbots, FAQ bots, to more engaging conversational chatbots. You can actually give a human personality into your bot using these technologies. Now in the quadrant 2, you have what we call as the entertainment bots. I'm going to take like some examples of each of these in the next few slides. So these are like bots that you can create to keep your customer engaged and entertained. Now mind you, the conversation is going to be complex than this one because you don't know what type of questions your customers might ask from the bot because it's going to be highly engaging. But it's not giving you much ROI in terms of your business results. So that's like kind of like a middle of the funnel engagement, right? So you have your customers who are engaging with you in more like an entertaining, fun way. Now the third one, this is where it starts giving you the business impact. This is high business impact, but low in conversation complexity. Now if you're already here, it's very easy for you to move up. These are like lead generation and lead nurturing bots. Very easily you can, like I have a case study example, very easily you can build these bots to filter the most qualified leads of your organization, and then you can cut back the workload of your human agents. Now, this would very well work in the insurance industry, banking industry, where what you essentially do is you use these AI bots to engage and nurture your potential customers and then funneling them down until they make a final purchase. So that's lead generation bots. And then Fourth quadrant, that's like the ultimate game that you can play, the intelligent customer experience bots. Now these are chatbots. I mean, these are not just chatbots. These are not like conversational bots. These are like AI agents, right? So I saw there's one award went to an agentic AI solution as well, which is kind of like currently the buzzword in the AI world. Now this is like intelligent customer experience bots who basically, I mean, for example, so one of the travel agency clients that I worked with, so they developed this bot which is integrated into their WhatsApp. Essentially, they skipped the whole booking engine thing, right? I mean, so the story is that they didn't even have a booking engine. They were like operating with phone calls and all that. So what they did was they skipped the booking engine part straight away into a customer experience bot. Basically what happens is you have a WhatsApp number, you're a potential customer, they WhatsApp you, okay, I want to book a flight to Dubai on such and such date, and the bot will ask questions like, okay, how many packs, how many nights, is it a one-way or a round trip? So the bot will ask questions, and based on the answers that you give, the bot will create your travel itinerary. And not only that, it will ping the GDS, it will bring back the pricing of various multiple different airlines, and it will give you a few options to select from. And you select an option, this all happens on the chat itself, and then once you confirm that, it will create a template order, and then it will the bot will pass it to a human agent. Of course, if you want, you can automate the reservation, but you know, for the sake of accuracy, manual checking and all that, so what it does is it will actually pass it into a human agent. So the human agent will go through the itinerary once again, and it's a matter of just clicking one button to confirm it. Your reservation is made, you will get your e-ticket for the air trip. So that is intelligent CX bots. You can automate your entire sales process using this. Now, these are 4 options that any brand can leverage today in terms of engaging your customers through AI-driven conversations. Right, okay, the next slide. Now I'm going to show you a few examples of these 4 types of bots that you can do. Next slide, please. Right, so this is actually one case example from Sri Lanka. It's a sanitary napkin brand, FEMS. Now I told you that there are certain conversations people are a little hesitant to have, right? Now, even in Sri Lanka, now this topic of, you know, women's health, feminine hygiene is a topic, a taboo topic. People don't speak that openly. And I remember I worked for this brand about like 10 years ago in my advertising career. One of the biggest challenges we had was to get girls to talk about their problems in this space. We tried like Facebook Messenger and all that. It was very, very difficult to do that. But very recently I saw that they have done this. I mean, good for them. I mean, it's a real good innovation they've done. They've created this WhatsApp bot, FAQ bots, where people can just, you know, chat on a WhatsApp. They know that out there is a FAQ bot, right? So they can get their questions answered, and some numbers. Since it's launched, the platform has facilitated over 42,000 chats with over 2,000 questions answered, and some of the questions are escalated to doctors and other, you know, medical professionals. So this is a great example of use that quadrant 1, FAQ and information bots. Next slide, please. Right, this is us actually. This is my institute, Apidum. So we tested out this tool called Alina, which is a GPT-based chatbot provider. And with Alina, we created a lead qualification bot on our website. Basically what this does is, like, we have trained the bot to answer any question about our programs, and potential customers or potential students, they come and they chat with this thing, and it's not a rule-based bot. It's perfectly automated generative AI-based bot, And not only that, we have guardrails. Like, it's GPT based, but it won't go into OpenAI's knowledge base. It will only answer from the knowledge base that we have uploaded it. So therefore, it has guardrails, so it won't actually hallucinate or anything. And so with this, we have managed to cut back, a lot of the hours from, we have a very small sales team, by the way. We have just one full-time person and 2 freelancers. And we managed to cut back their time in handling customer inquiries or potential student inquiries. Now they can focus on more complex conversations. Whereas we let like the simple conversations to be handled by the bot, and we filter the leads, and then the human team, human agents team only need to actually talk about or engage with the more complex customer problems. So this is powered by a tool called Alina. You can check it out, alina.ai. So it's a very, very a good product for a lead qualification bot like this. All right, next slide, please. Right, now this is a Sri Lanka-based startup company that I have supported in their early stage. This is a conversational marketing solution for education industry. So what they have built is a platform where they connect, higher education is a high involvement decision. The potential students, when they are selecting a university or a degree program, they want to go through a lot of information before they make their final decision. So trust matters a lot. So what they do is, this platform will allow potential students of a university to connect with the alumni and the current students to get like first-hand feedback from them, rather than getting into a conversation with a salesperson. So you are having conversations with real customers, real time. And then what they do is, they built in the AI component to it. They analyze all these conversations between potential customers and actual customers. They analyze the entire customer communications or conversations, and then through that what they do is, now rather than every time connecting the potential customer to a real customer, because the real customer has to be available at the time when a potential customer chats. So what they are now doing is, they are bringing in these AI conversations into the equation. So because if it's a recurring question which is coming from these potential customers, they have the knowledge base. They use all the conversation threads to train this platform and then allow the customers to have this conversation. Next slide, please. Now this is a case study. Actually, this is a case study that I got from Univisor, Mahindra University, I think right here in Mumbai, if I'm not mistaken. So they worked with Mahindra University, and they've generated like 15,000 conversations between these alumni and potential customers. The most important number that I'm really attracted to is this one, 94% of positive sentiments in conversations. Now that's a great achievement. So this means without a salesperson in the middle, your potential customers and actual customers are having conversations, and 94% of the time, the sentiment is positive. Now, isn't this what I earlier mean as giving the power back to the consumer in your conversations? If you give the power back to the consumer for them to have the conversation and let them decide, things are going to be bright, right? Now, so we have to let go of this feeling that we have to always have the control of the conversation. No, we don't have to. Let the consumers talk. These conversations build the trust. Right, okay, the next slide, please. Right, now, remember in my 4 quadrants, remember this, the quadrant number 2, the entertainment bot, right? Now this is a startup platform, again coming from Sri Lanka. I mentored them during their early days. Now, this is a conversational marketing platform or a conversational AI platform for creators. Now, if you are a creator, you know that like you have two assets basically. Number one, your creation ability, your creations, the content that you create. Number two, your audience. Now, most creators know how to create great content. That's in your bloodstream, right? But where most creators are struggling is getting their audience engaged and getting their audience expanded. So ConverGrid is an AI platform where they come into this equation of conversational marketing for creators. So what they do is they focus on your existing audience and they look at the conversations happening among your existing audience, and from that they actually bring out like content suggestions for you to go back and create content. And not only that, it will automate your engagement with your existing audience, which will allow more audiences to be attracted to the content that you create on YouTube, TikTok, and all other platforms. Right, so this is quadrant 2 example, entertainment. The next slide, please. Now, I'm sure like if you are following AI-related news on media, I mean, there's at least 60% of chance, like most of you are here, have exposed to this new tool called Artisan, right? They were in news like last 2 to 3 weeks because they ran a bold campaign across the globe. The campaign said, the tagline was, fire your sales team. Like, they literally ran ads asking management, asking CEOs to fire your sales staff and hire our agents, right? So this created a lot of conversations. Basically, this is an example of that fourth quadrant conversation, right? High complex, high business return. Now you can check out Artisan. I think it's artisan.ai, and they have now, for example, this agent Eva. Now, Eva manages your entire demand generation process, everything from identifying and prospecting leads to drafting and sending outreach messages. Agentic AI as an agent will end-to-end complete the process. And they have a few other agents that you can use as it. All these agents are in that fourth quadrant, that is high complex customer experience bots. It actually goes into the nuances of data, of your customer experiences and all that. Next slide, please. Right. I know now some of the things that I have discussed here like might spark some ideas in your mind like, okay, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? And all that. So let me give you a roadmap how you can get into one of these like 4 quadrants that I earlier showed. Like the very first thing is to getting your tech stack right. So you have to get your tech stack right. So you have to get your infrastructure right. Now, if your data is disintegrated on multiple platforms, you have to now think of how you are going to pull all the data into one customer data management platform. You might have CRM. Like personally, I'm a great fan of HubSpot for this, but of course you have other tools as well. You have, of course, I mean, from Salesforce to Soho and so many other customer data platforms. But you have to pick one and invest in it and get all your data into one single platform. Your WhatsApp conversations, your Messenger conversations, your email, even your phone conversation, get everything into one platform and start, accumulating as much as data about your customers. Once you do that, second one is you have to have a consistent tone and a personality for your brand in these conversations if you are to build trust. You can't be speaking in one tone on one platform, in completely a different tone on another platform. You can't do that. You have to have a uniform tone and a personality for your brand. Because as I said earlier, you have to be transparent in order to win the trust of Gen Zers and the Gen Alpha. Now, if you are using AI bots, you have to disclose that. They expect that, right? Because I've seen like in some cases, companies are using AI bots for customer support, but they are not disclosing. Some companies using email automations, their AI agents are replying emails without a disclaimer. So you need to bring in this, your tone, the personality to build the trust. That's the second element, or the second step. So once you have that, the third step is you have to start optimizing your data. When you are gathering, collecting data from multiple sources, there's a massive chance that you are going to collect dirty data. Dirty data in the sense, I mean, like you might be having email forms and so many different ways of collecting customer data, and there are like hundreds of thousands of people coming in and feeling like abc@xyz.com for the email address, and that goes into your data platform. And how many CRM records you might be already having on your data platform. But now if you try to analyze that data, that's actually make your data a little unclean. So you have to clean the data, you have to optimize the data, then only you'll be able to leverage the power of all these conversations. Now I talked about the options you have. I talked about like 4 options that you can go with in terms of conversation complexity and the business impact it can bring you. And then I talked about 3 stages through which you have to walk to take your brand in this journey of conversational marketing using AI technologies. Right, so I think the next slide, please. Yeah, so with that, I'm actually at the end of this program, but let me quickly take a minute to talk about my company. Of course, we are a digital marketing training institute, but now we are, because like this whole idea of corporate training is being challenged now. Now it's no longer you go to a company or get a bunch of employees from a company to a classroom and deliver a lecture. Clients are expecting more than that. So what we are doing is we are working on this new method of corporate training called the upskill, co-create, transform. Basically what we do is we first identify the talent gaps in terms of using technology, AI in their day-to-day marketing work. And with the support of the senior team, then what we do is we co-create solutions for the client, and then for a period of time we handhold them until they are comfortable with using these new technologies and all that. We've done this several programs in Sri Lanka with Dialogue Asiata, and then we've done very recently we completed the program with Smart Asiata in Cambodia, and we worked with some care homes network in UK and some facility management company in Australia. So it's not just delivering a training, it's like hand-holding them until they are comfortable in using the knowledge that they gain. So this is what we are doing at the moment. So you can reach out to me. Next slide, please. Yep. So I think I come to the end, the most awaited slide, maybe for the people who are awaiting to get their awards. This might be the most awaited slide. Finally, it's coming to an end. Yes, you can actually reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the best platform you can reach out to me. And I'm here like after the event also. You can come and talk to me. Even if I don't talk to you, don't worry. You can come and talk to me. And you can ask questions. We can engage to discuss like how this conversational marketing thing can be leveraged for multiple brands. All right, so with that, thank you very much for bearing with me, and I'm handing it over. Please.